guys, Miss Kellogg here with your Unit 5, 5.14 and 5.17 review. 5.14 is some content and 5.17 is your unit test. Let's get started. So, functions of architecture. In many civilizations, past and present, common types of buildings include tombs, places of worship, and defensive structures. This is a Mayan temple right here that we are looking at. The Mayan Temple of Inscriptions is in Mexico. For example, it is a tomb built for the ruler. The Great Mosque of Isfahan is in Muslim, a place of worship. Himeji Castle in Japan is a defensive structure. How do the style of features of each structure add to its overall visual impact or functional effectiveness? Take a look here at the Islamic mosque. How do the architectural styles and features of this Islamic mosque add to the visual impact or functional effectiveness of the structure as a place of worship? Mosques have certain architectural features that are designed to accommodate Muslim worshippers, including a mihrab, a niche that marks the direction of Mecca, a minaret, a tower from which a crier calls Muslim to prayer, a minbar, a platform where the leader stands to give the sermon. Architectural plans and details. Historians often categorize works of architecture by their architectural features, which makes a building from Japan characteristically Japanese or one from the Middle East characteristically Islamic. What makes those buildings characteristically those kinds of buildings? Here is Wandering Raven Clan House and Totem Pole in Alaska. A great mosque in Isfahan is an Islamic place of worship. What are some architectural details that make it characteristically Islamic? Architectural features of the mosques are designed to prepare Muslims for worship, including a minaret from which criers call worshippers to prayer, or a minaret which makes the direction of Mecca. The surfaces are covered with intricate tile work and geometric floral patterns and calligraph script that incorporates passages from Quran and proclaims the glory of Allah. Subject matter of artworks. The subject matter of an artwork reflects the ideas and beliefs of the culture it comes from. Figure crossing a bridge, for example, shows tiny figures against towering mountains, reflecting the Buddhist idea of humans are a very small part of the natural world. The drum bridge, which is right next to it, shrine, depicts the people enjoying an idyllic Japanese landscape, reflecting the Buddhist belief and the pleasures of life are fleeting and people should enjoy them while they last. Artistic conventions. Different cultures have different artistic conventions. Studying these conventions can help you match an artwork with a particular culture or civilization. Chinese, Japanese, and Indian artworks, for instance, often depict nature scenes, yet they use very different techniques to do so. Chinese artist Shen Zhao, for example, used only black ink in different values to create the feeling of unity in his paintings. What conventions do artists of different cultures use to give artworks particular looks and feels? Check out this painting by Shen Zhao. So what convention did the Chinese artist Shen Zhao use in this painting that gives it a particular look and feel? He used only black ink to create that sense of unity we were talking about. He thinned the ink with water to lighten the value of the mountains and the sky. He used about a variety of expressive brushstrokes. Some are long, some are thin, some are small dots, some are curved lines, and some are light in value, others dark. Artistic and functional. Textiles and clothing. Take a look at this beaded and fringed high shirt from the Plains Indians. Artists from cultures worldwide have created functional objects of transformed them into works of art. Inca Plains, Navajo, and Persian artists turned woven or knotted fibers an American hide into beautiful clothing and carpets. They created ornate decorations using a variety of natural man-made materials, natural dyes, alpaca and sheep wool hide, horsehair, porcupine quills, silk, and European traded beads. They added a variety of geometric and floral patterns following the style and conventions of their cultures. Here are 3 other beautiful pieces. Think about the function and decorated of the Inca ponchos. Think about the function and decoration on Plains hide clothing. Think about the function and decoration on Navajo weaving. So the Inca ponchos have symbolic colors and patterns that differ by religion. So they served as a form of identification for the weaver. Emperors and nobles wore the brightest ponchos with the most complex patterns as a sign of wealth and status. Plains women made decorated hide clothing for special ceremonies and events. Shapes and colors in the decorations symbolize things in nature. Navajo artists made weavings and functioned as clothing and saddle blankets. They made valuable chiefs' blankets as trade items with chiefs from neighborhood people or as gifts. Traditional geometric patterns include stripes, diamonds, triangles, and zigzags. Art with religious and ceremonial purposes. Art often reflects the religious beliefs and traditional customs of culture. In China, the Yungang grots were Buddhist retreats for monks and places for travelers to worship the caves. The caves are dedicated to the Buddha and the sculptures of him that have made a meditative pose. He's right here. Here's the seated Buddha. In India, artists created sculptures of the Hindu god Shiva Nataraja. They placed the sculptures in Hindu temples and carried them in processions. The image of a dancing Shiva encourages Hindus to practice yoga and dance in an effect to achieve enlightenment. In Africa, Kuba artists wore masks during rituals, funerals, and royal ceremonies. Each of these works of art had symbolism that viewers can understand and that enhance their experience. Take a look at these. Explore the facial expression, proportion, and symbolism of the seated Buddha from China. So take a look. Here's the seated Buddha. The facial expression and exaggerated proportions, broad shoulders, and narrow waist convey a sense of strength and gentleness that express the Buddhist ideas of meditation and enlightenment. The Buddha's top knot symbolizes knowledge and enlightenment, while the roll around his head symbolizes spiritual radiance. Explore the proportion, expression, and symbolism of Shiva Nataraja. The idealized figure has elongated limbs and full hips, creating sinuous lines and symbolic hand and body gestures, and symbolic objects such as the drum and ball of fire remind Hindus of the cycle of death and rebirth. Shiva's face is calm and expressionless, representing his neutrality towards all things. Explore proportion, expression, and symbolism through the Yorba portrait sculpture of the Oni. Check out this royal bust. The Oni looks very lifelike with supple modeling of the skin, but his facial features are idealized to reflect the Yorba vision of beauty. Carved vertical lines could represent scarification marks or a beaded veil. The written word as art. This is a tugra right over here. Writing has practical and aesthetic functions in many cultures. The written word often becomes a work of art. In the Islamic word, sultans used a tugra as imperial symbols that marked important documents. Each Ottoman sultan had a unique tugra, but all tugras incorporated some basic elements. Look at that beautiful tugra. Tugras have oval loops, vertical lines, curving arabesques, interlacing lines, and decorative fill patterns. With the tugra, artists included calligraph texts stating the titles of their family names of the Sultan. The elements of the Tugra have symbolic meaning as well. So this is a stone sun calendar. While calligraph Tugras served as political purpose in Islamic cultures, glyphs and stone calendars in the Mexica culture told the Mexica history of the world. What do some of the glyphs on the stone calendar symbolize? Take a look deeper in there. The stone sun calendar has glyphs that consist of objects in the natural world that stand for words or ideas. The glyph in the center may symbolize the sun god. The 4 glyphs around the center symbolize the destruction of the 4 previous worlds by jaguars, wind, fire, and rain. The glyphs in the band around the stone represent the days of the month. In addition to being practical and beautiful, artworks often tell many stories. Sometimes they state the history and social status of a family or ruler. They may illustrate the adventures of important figures in the culture's history. They may show events in nature, such as the changing of the seasons. This is Birds and Flowers of the 4 Seasons, Spring and Summer. It's a Japanese folding screen. Okay, so we have a test that is due, and it is the 5.17 test, I believe. Yep, the 5.17 test, I believe. So I have a fun little Kahoot for you guys to work on. I'm going to have the link available in the announcement as well as in my email. You guys can use that. Our extension for this week is the Plains Indian Museum Walk-in Tour. This is in Cody, Wyoming. It's about 15 minutes long, so it's longer, but it's full of history and full of beautiful art pieces and very interesting and fun to watch. As a reminder, don't forget to take your 5.17 test and have a great week. Bye, everybody.